Well, hello there, my stamping friends. Susan here with Pumpkin Hill Stampers. I have a Stampin' Show and Tell for you, and today I'm actually creating a card for a demo swap with my demo team. So I'm challenged, or I signed up for, I challenged myself to do a swap with something from the Sale-a-bration catalog. So when I did my pre-order in December, I qualified for a $100 product, so I picked up the detailed Dogwood stamp set, which by now you have your Sale-a-bration catalogs, and this one is on page 15. So if you purchase $100 during Sale-a-bration from January 5th until the end of February, you could pick up this stamp set as a freebie. So there's a little perk for putting in your orders, whether it be for supplies or for the new products out of the spring catalog. This one can be picked up as a free item. So I'm going to craft with this stamp set today, and I'm going to recreate a card from a few years ago, probably many years ago. I'm sure there's a video out there on the previous card. I'm going to show it to you. So I've been going through my archive files and pulling out some of my favorite cards that I've made in the past and then recreating them. So I'm going to recreate this one with this new stamp set. So you can see I've got a base card, and then I kind of have it framed and stepped out on some DSP and then layered with cardstock and a die cut center focal point. So I'm going to recreate this with this new stamp set. So take some of those favorite cards you've done in the past and reimagine them. Okay, so I'm actually going to do it a little bit different. I have a piece of Misty Moonlight, because I decided to use Misty Moonlight and Wild Wheat as my two colors. I know that sounds a little strange, but I wanted to use DSP that I had enough of to make my swaps. So this one comes from the annual catalog, and it's not a pattern that I'm in love with, but the color is really nice. And so for this design, where I'm actually just using it as a background framing piece, right? I'm not really seeing the pattern, I'm just seeing the color around my piece. So I'm going to use that. And then I'm going to stamp on very vanilla. Now this piece was cut down to 5 1/4 by 8. So I fold it in half. It's going to be 5 1/4 by 4, which is going to step in nicely onto my background color, which will just frame my whole card inset on that Misty Moonlight. So before I've done any stamping, here is my base sketch. Okay, so the background, like I said, is a 1/4 sheet of cardstock, 5 1/2 by 4 1/4. My card that's folded is 5 1/4 by 8, scored at 4 and folded in half. My framing piece, as it worked out, I went from my die out. This is from the Stylish Shapes dies. Okay, so this die, when you cut it, ends up being just shy of 2 1/2. So my die is just shy of 2 1/2, and my Wild Wheat is 2 1/2 square. And then that's stepped up on a 3 by 3 piece of the DSP. Okay, so there's all the measurements for how I worked out my card. Okay, so now let's do the stamping part, because this is the part that, for my swap, is the challenge to come up with something new. Alright, so I'm going to stamp in the Wild Wheat. Now I think the Wild Wheat color, when you look at it on its own, in its own like paper color, right, solid, I kind of see a wheat color. Sure, it's wild wheat. I also kind of see a gold, and depending on the color you put it with, sometimes it's a little green. So we're going to stamp the large dogwood image in the wild wheat color. And I'm going to do background stamping on the front of this card. So I'm actually going to start upside down, because I want this image kind of down here on the bottom. So I'm going to go ahead and put that one right where I want it, right there. And you're going to see I'm doing active stamping, so off the edge of my paper, because I'm kind of stamping like my own background paper, my own pattern with this technique. Now I'm going to come in, let's see, I'm going to go upside down, all right, just straight upside down. So again, just pairing off my pattern. Now I'm going to repeat that on the top. So I'm going to go right here. I'll go upside down again. So this pattern and this pattern are upside down to each other. And then I just have to fill in this last corner. Now I'm stamping my pad to my stamp because one, my pad is really juicy because it's still very new. Secondly, this is a large image, and if I were to go this way, I'd have to go multiple times. So by doing it the other way, I have a little more control of where the ink is getting applied. All right, so now I'm just going to fill in that missing section right there. So I've got this nice large print to fill in the background of my card. Okay, so that's going to go on its mount like that. Now you could stop right there and just add a sentiment or a ribbon and you'd be fine. But we're going to go on because I am recreating this previous sketch. All right, so then this piece will go down and this piece is going to go down, and then I have this center focal piece which I'm also going to stamp. So let's pull that aside. Now from the same stamp set, I've got this other fun little not quite opened dogwood branch. So I'm going to stamp that again in the wild wheat, and I'm just going to put that kind of here in the bottom corner. So that's kind of its own image. And then this stamp set has a really fun small dragonfly. We've had dragonflies in the past, so this is a really nice small one. It's got little printed text on its wings. And I'm just going to stamp that right here in the other color, so in the Misty Moonlight. So I'm kind of pulling the two pieces, the two colors that I'm using, Misty Moonlight and the Wild Wheat, together into my project. All right, all that's going to get adhered down, but I'm going to step it up just a little bit because for my swaps I like to add a little bit of extra effort. So I'm going to stamp my dragonfly again just on a piece of scrap, very vanilla, and then I'm going to take a second and trim these out. Now I have to make a dozen of these for my swap. Dozen's not so bad, and this image is pretty easy to trim. So I'm just coming around my paper snips, trimming out the image, and then I'm going to pop that up on a mini dimensional over where I stamped it on my card. So it'll just give it a little bit of pop, and by seeing the image underneath it, it'll look three-dimensional. So that's kind of a cool effect to do with your stamps. Stamp it once, then stamp it again, trim it out, and pop it over the top of that, and it's kind of like a spotlighting effect. All right, so I'm just going to trim little edge of my leftover dimensionals there. Put that on a dimensional, and I'll pop that right over the top, just like that. So I'm just going to adhere all this down now. So let me talk to you about Sale-a-bration. So Sale-a-bration, like I said, it runs from the beginning of January through the end of February. Any $50 order minimum or increments of 50 earns you a selection from the Sale-a-bration brochure. So it might be a stamp set or it might be really wonderful designer series papers. So you can pick and choose. They're only available while supplies last, so if there's something you really, really want, don't wait too long to place that first order to get your bonus product. And then please use my host code, which is on my website, www.pumpkinhillstampers.com. I always have the most current host code, so when you go to stampinup.com to shop, if you stick my host code into your shopping cart, I would get credit for your purchase, and in exchange for that, I will send you a crafting kit to make the thank you card for the given month. So instead of sending you a pre-crafted card, I send you a kit so you can make a card with maybe some product that you don't have in your collection. So I think that's kind of fun, and my customers really like that incentive. So when you search shop with your host code, it also allows me to bundle up smaller orders together to take advantage of the Stampin' Rewards, and I use those for supplies so that I can continue sharing projects here on YouTube. And thank you, kits, with all of you who are supporting me. Alright, so there we go. There is the finished product of my card stamping today. So hopefully my fellow demonstrators will enjoy that. And again, this is one of the free sets that you can earn during Sale-a-bration. Alright guys, do some fun stamping. I'll stamp again with you soon. I'm sure I'm going to use this again for at least one more project before the end of Sale-a-bration, so stay tuned. Do some fun stamping, use my contacts below, and I'll see you again soon. Bye!